let me speak for all Harden fans out there, because I'm saying I actually do see some Harden fans out there that say kind of crazy stuff. Listen, let me be the representation. I got us. I want to get rid of this narrative of Houston Harden. Okay, like the narrative is we won't get Houston Harden back. You are 100% correct. Houston Harden, he hasn't been Houston Harden since he left Houston, okay? I would rather people be saying right now, can we get Brooklyn Harden back, who was still an MVP candidate? He wasn't, listen, when he was in Brooklyn, that was not Houston Harden. He completely changed his game. Like, when he was in Houston, he was putting up supernatural numbers. 55, 53, 60, like back to back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that level, I don't think he's going to get back to putting up those numbers for sure. No, let's throw that out the window. But I'm very optimistic that he can get back to the numbers that he was just putting up last year in Brooklyn, where he was an MVP candidate. Let's not forget, okay? Those were not Houston numbers. They were very similar to the numbers that he put up this year, but he had better efficiency doing it because he didn't have the injury at the time, okay? Now, the Houston Harden, let's please, everybody in the chat, stop saying that. Like, he's not going to get back to Houston Harden at 30, 32, 33, because that's just not, come on now. He's not putting up 50, 40. It's just not. But he can be a valuable point guard. Now, the next thing that I wanted to touch on, Melly was talking about yesterday. He was like, I wish we would have got Halliburton or Beal over Harden.
Yeah.
Let me tell everybody this, or everybody needs to understand this. A facilitator is the most powerful thing a player in the NBA can be. Do you want to know why? A facilitator beats a pure scorer. He beats everybody because he elevates everybody on his team. People are underestimating a pure facilitator. Like, I'm not going to say Harden didn't put up the scoring numbers. He didn't.
Right.
But all time, let me name some names for you. Draymond Green, Chris Paul, LeBron James, Nikola Jokic. When Chris Paul was on the OKC Thunder, nobody thought that the Thunder would make the playoffs with CP3 and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But how did they do it?
I agree.
Because CP3 is so elite at passing that he was elevating his team.
And he always scored when he needed to.
He did.
And he didn't score when he needed to a couple days ago, and what happened?
No, we lost.
Facilitator.
Listen. I'll say, I can admit when Harden, he didn't score. But also, let me talk about that game 6 as well. Because a lot of people are viewing this as Harden took 9 shots. Now let's go behind the scenes here.
They're viewing because he did.
No, yeah, he did.
They're not just viewing it like people are choosing to view it that way. That's what happened. Anyway, go ahead.
It is, but let's go behind the scenes. I looked at some numbers. When is the last time you've had a player take 25 shots and have had another player take 22 shots and I've had another player take 20-plus shots? It hasn't happened in a very, very long time. This is a perfect example. I was watching the Boston series, right? In Game 6, Grant Williams took 3 shots. Tatum had over 30 shots, right?
Yeah.
Game 7, Grant Williams takes 20-plus shots. Everybody else's shot attempts go down.
Yeah, of course.
Al Horford took 7 shots.
I would love for James Harden's shot attempts to go up and Tobias Harris's shot attempts to go down, and George Niang and Danny Green's shot attempts to go down. Like, yes, that's what happens. We want him to be shooting the ball more than those other players. That's what a superstar is. So he's not supposed to shoot because he needs Danny Green to chuck 12 threes?
No, this is what I'm saying. It's just that there's not enough time in a game for enough shots to go around. There was plenty of possessions in that game 6. Now, you had to watch it. We all watched the same game 6 where I watched Joel shoot over like multiple defenders.
Because
like
his point guard would not shoot. He had to. Nobody else was shooting the ball. He's not saying, yo, James, you're on fire, but I'm taking on a triple team. If James was hitting the shots, he'd be giving him the ball left and right. Joel was the only one doing anything in that third quarter, and he's the most injured player on the team.
Listen, okay.
There's no justifying 2 shots in a second half. You can't justify it by saying other players need to shoot too. This is literally a Ben Simmons argument. This is the same thing I heard last season. Well, he's a facilitator. He's not supposed to score. Yes, he is.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, okay, I feel, all right, Philly fans, like you just said, you're not going to slander Joel Embiid, which I get that to an extent, but okay, let me debate me on this. Embiid is the mirror of James Harden as a big man. This is what I mean, trajectory of their careers.
Yeah.
They both had great regular seasons, performed great, and haven't been able to make it far. They're both hungry for a championship, right? This is the only difference. Harden hasn't been in Philadelphia for you guys to defend him, which is why it frustrates me. You know what I'm saying? Listen, this is what I mean. If Harden had been in Philly, putting up his Houston numbers, right? And in Philly, and then he goes on this one season decline. You cannot tell me that Philly fans would still be here calling him washed. They would literally be sitting here like, no, let's give him more time. Let's give him more time. But because you didn't see that production from him in your city, it's more like no, he's washed. I thought of a perfect analogy.
Yeah, because he has 1 year left on his contract and he wants a 5-year max contract. What are we supposed to say?
Oh, no,
you're not going to give this guy a max contract. That's not a narrative. It's a fact. What's a narrative? What does the word narrative even mean in this situation? It's a fact. He has 1 year left. He played like shit. We're going to see him play for another year.
No,
we don't want to give him a 5-year contract.
It's a narrative that he wants a max. I personally don't think he should take a max. I'm not delusional. I don't think he should take a max.
You're talking about you're telling me James Harden, flashy designer outfit, hanging out with rappers in nightclubs. James Harden doesn't want a max contract. He clearly cares more about the money than anything that has to do with basketball, or he wouldn't have went 3 seasons without working out.
Yo, that's completely false. With all respect, Eastwood.
I don't think you've ever hung out with James Harden or talked to him.
No, listen. It's just a narrative that, bro, he wants to win more than anything right now. Like, what are we talking about? Money. This is one of the top 10 paid guys in the NBA. Like, he's made a plethora of money. He has his own shoe. What are we talking about here? He's in multiple commercials. He doesn't
want the money.
He doesn't need a max.
Nobody needs a max. No player in the entire league needs a max. Nobody needs $300 million. Of course not. Josh Harris doesn't need $10 billion. Does that mean he doesn't want to make another $1 billion? Of course he does. That's like saying the owner of Amazon is probably going to go feed third world countries because he doesn't need another $1 billion. Of course he doesn't need it, but he's going to go get it. I guarantee it.
Okay, look, we'll see. Okay, we're going to have the max conversation after the deal is made for sure, because I don't think he will take the max personally, but that'll be a situation we talk about another time. But I do want to get back to this. No, we're not letting Joel off the hook.
All right, I gotta hear this. Because your boy shot 2 shots. Your boy shot 2 shots in the entire second half. I gotta hear this.
Look, because a lot of people, you're viewing it a certain way, but I see everything I swear I see it from a logical standpoint. I seen the makeup of that game 6 before the game started. I swear to you. I watched the presser after the game 5 or whatever. And I was wondering why Joel was making some of the comments that he was making. Honestly, like he literally said, I'm in a lose-lose situation. You know, if I go out there and play bad, you know, people are like, Joel, why, when we have another game, why are you talking about you're in a lose-lose situation? Bro, go out there
because he was trying.
He
did, and he was trying, and he couldn't do what he needed to do. He's shooting a knuckleball because he doesn't have a thumb.
But listen, I'll tell you what he did. The way that you're all saying Joel went out there, he gave heart. Joel painted this narrative for you guys to say this before the game started. That's why he made those comments. Listen, you don't understand how the game was played. And then I watched Harden go out there, force feed Joel the ball, watch Joel take fadeaways so he could get 25 shots in a game just for people to go out there and say Joel gave heart. That's bull. That's bull.
So Joel had a plan with James Harden. Hey, this game, give me the ball so I can shoot 25 shots so I can live up to what I said yesterday before the game. Hey, this is a conspiracy theory now?
No.
Or was he just on the floor trying to win the basketball game when his point guard was refusing to do anything with the ball?
Okay, so you're painting it as Harden was refusing, but there's
he shot twice.
Listen, if I had my own podcast and was able to just show clips, you know how you do, I promise you, I'm not making this up. There's multiple clips. Harden is wide open at the three. I watched it. Joel was in the paint. Harden is wide open at the three. I'm like, pass him the ball. Joel forces a fadeaway that he misses. He did it multiple times.
Are we talking about the third? We're probably talking about the third or the fourth quarter, right? Because as a game goes on and you start to realize we're down by 13 because nobody's doing anything, I have to go do it all by my damn self. Now, if you are wide open, I'm not giving you the ball because you showed me no effort for 2.5 quarters and I'm trying to win the damn game. Everything's relative. Joel's not just out here shooting because he wants to get 25 shots off. He's trying to win the damn game. If nobody's stepping up, he's going to shoot it 35 times.
Okay, and also another thing that I want to touch on is how we keep saying Joel. Listen, we know Joel is the MVP of this team, and I'm seeing what everybody's saying in the comments too. I'm not sick. I see everything people are saying. But the fact that we're trying to make it seem like Joel is the be-all, end-all. Joel, yes, we need Joel to win for sure. But if Harden isn't there game 1 and 2 and we have Joel, we still arguably lose those games as well. Let's not act like we don't need both guys. We need both. Let's not act like if Joel is here, we still put up like we're going to win. Like, no. If Harden wasn't there to run the offense, to make everybody flow,
they would lose in the second round.
We don't make it far.
We didn't make it far with him there.
We'll lose in the first round. So
I agree. Joel needs, I say this all the time, Joel needs perimeter creators to do things so he doesn't have to shoot over 4 guys an entire game. Yes.
Question.
Who said we don't need Harden? We're mad because we didn't get the version of Harden that we do need to get past the second round. So here we are again.
Listen, though, we don't need Houston Harden. We need Brooklyn Harden, who was still it's his efficiency that's destroying us.
I can agree with this part. I can agree with this part. If you believe he can get back to Brooklyn Harden, I can agree with that. Efficiency, shooting the ball when you're open, shooting a decent percentage, taking your guy one-on-one when it's time to do that, taking the pressure off of your center who's getting triple teamed the whole game. I agree. If you think he can get back to that, then I'll sit back and watch, and I hope he can. I personally don't think he can. But what I saw in Game 6 was not that. He shot it twice in the second half. It's Ben Simmons numbers.